Hello, I'm Ruth. I crochet, and that's really hello, hello. It's all flashing here. I don't know whether you can see me, whether you can hear me. Hopefully you can. But yeah, I I crochet. I'm Ruth, and if you can see, oh, I went the wrong way. If you can see behind me, that's part of the coat that Lindsay mentioned earlier. It's my take on the granny square coat, and it's got a little. Can you still see me? My screen has gone blank. I don't know what happened. It's got a little kicktail in the back that I made, and the pattern I put on Ravelry. So if anybody wanted the pattern, it is on Ravelry. But a little bit about me. I crochet, and I started to crochet about 10 years ago. I had a stroke that came out of the blue. I was quite happily minding my own business, and no, not my own, I was at work, and I had a stroke. I was sat in a meeting with the managing director of my business, and my head just broke. Although I didn't realise it had broken, and I thought it was a migraine, and I went back. I was working in London. I didn't live in London. I was working in London, and I went back to the hotel that I was staying in, and I went to bed, as you do. Slept it off, as you do. I went back to work the next day, and my husband was there. It was near Christmas, so my husband was there because it was the supposedly to be the Christmas party. It's like there's messages flashing up all over my screen. I don't know what's quite happening, but there he had to take me home the next day early because my head was just, it really hurt. And in that evening when I was at home, it felt like my whole head had just erupted, and I don't really remember much after that. For about I lost about a 2-week period, but apparently I died. And they brought me around, and I was on life support, and I'd got one of my sons who was on deployment with the army at the time, and within 24 hours they'd got him home. They hired aeroplanes and all sorts of stuff to get him home, and they'd told him that I wasn't going to survive, and they told the whole family to get together and say their last goodbyes and everything. So it was a bit scary for them. I obviously didn't know anything about it, but I'm still here, so don't get rid of me that easily. And then I lost all the left side of my body. I've only got I lost most of the eyesight in my left eye, and I lost the use of my arm and my leg, and I was in a wheelchair, and it was a bit worries me. But it's okay now. I've got over that. And so to get the movement back in my hand, a lovely lady started to teach me how to crochet. I'd always wanted to crochet. I could knit, but I couldn't crochet. So I was given this great big fat crochet needle hook, and I started to grip that because they give you these squidgy balls to grip. So they gave me that, and I started to grip that, and then I started to hold the yarn, because when you crochet, if you're right-handed, you hold the crochet needle in your right hand, and then you manipulate the yarn with your left hand. So to get the finer motor movements, you have to start, and that was part of my rehab. That's how I started, and I learned to crochet that way. So to me, it was a huge thing once I actually started to do the chains, and I started to do the stitches, and I started to make things that actually looked anything that would have been acceptable other than a jumble of knots in a bit of string. It took me ages. It took me absolutely ages, because my mind wouldn't work. I couldn't remember things. I mean, I couldn't remember what day of the week it was half the time. Couldn't remember my own name. Somebody put a knife and fork in front of me one day, and I didn't even know what that was for. So it was like every day this lady would come and she'd give me the crochet hook, and I'd just sit and look at it, and I'd think, well, what am I supposed to do with it? And it would be like teaching me to crochet every single day. What I'd learnt the day before, I couldn't remember. And she was so patient with me. She really was so patient with me. And eventually little bits started to stick, and then I'd make up my own stitches, because I didn't remember the way that we were supposed to crochet. But eventually I got it. And yeah, so I now crochet. I love crochet. I've never been back to work. That's a lie. I did go back to work. I had the stroke in 2011. I went back to work in 2018, and within 3 months of going back to work, I had another stroke. So I've now been classed as medically unfit to work because of the stress and the pressure. My head can't cope with that. So I'm totally unemployable, really, for the corporate world. And the job that I did before was I was a HR manager. I'd a little bit of background on me. My life has been a bit of a I left home when I was 17. Life wasn't easy growing up, and I got with a guy that I thought would love me forever, and he didn't. And I fell pregnant very quickly, and I had the most beautiful daughter, and she still is the most beautiful daughter. And I had a son very quickly afterwards, and this guy that I thought would be my forever person turned out to be a wife beater, and the life with him was very difficult. So I eventually escaped from that by going into a refuge, and then lucky me, ended up with another guy who was exactly the same. And I had 2 beautiful sons with him, and they are beautiful sons. And it took me another 5 years to escape from that situation as well, because he used to blackmail me about everything. So and then I met my husband, who I'm with now, who seriously is my forever person. And we've been together nearly 30 years, so he really is my knight in shining armour and my happily ever after. So but life wasn't easy, and it wasn't until I met my husband, my now husband, that I had the chance to really sort of buckle down and start learning a career. So once I was with my husband and the children were at school, I then had a chance to actually think about what did I want to do in my life. And I went and I got 3 degrees. I got a degree in accounting, a degree in law, and a degree in human resources. And I then went on and I had a lovely career in human resources until my head exploded. So that's a bit about me. So then I learnt to crochet, and I've never looked back really. And this is where we are today. So now I make my own patterns, and they're on Ravelry. I do sell patterns on Ravelry, and the money trickles in. It every now and again I'll sell a pattern. Every now and again I'll go on to some site and I'll advertise my patterns, because people forget that they're there, or people haven't seen them, and you'd be surprised how many times you need to advertise yourself because you think that everybody's seen it and people haven't seen it. So you need to keep advertising yourself, because only sort of 2% of the people that know you will see anything at any one time. So keep sort of advertising it. So I just go on and just sort of say, oh hey, do you remember? Do you know? I do this, I do that, I do the other, and this is on Ravelry, and this is how much it costs. And every now and again I'll put an offer up and say, if you use this code, you can have this much off my pattern, or this one's free. I think you're awesome today. The sun's shining, I'm feeling happy. You can have it for nothing. So, and then sometimes that works. So, I mean, this is just a throw that I knit. Knit. I hate it when people call crochet knit. I crochet, and I just throw it around my shoulders when I'm cold. It's got no sleeves. It's just a shawly thing with pockets on. The pattern for this is on crochet. On Ravelry. My head's not letting me get my words out, but it's so snuggly when you're just feeling that little bit colder and you just want something on your shoulders. But I'll crochet anything really. Bit of a crochet whore, to be quite honest. Ooh, am I allowed to say that? Well, I just did. This is one of my latest. Excuse the hair. It needs a lining. I haven't lined it yet, but this is one of my latest, a little purse with mosaic. I love my mosaic crochet. It looks as if you spend hours on it, doesn't it? And all these ends that you have to sew in and stuff. No, it's so simple, but it's something that people will come to me and ask how I do, and I will teach them. So, and it is lovely. It is lovely to see people go from not being able to crochet to actually crocheting something mosaic. The bag hanging up on the wall, that's a beach bag that I sell, and again that's fully lined. That's got a cotton lining in it, which takes not much at all, but I love doing them. I love doing them, and the comments that people get when they walk out with one of those is amazing. I think that's the joy of crochet. If you can do it, I lose myself in it, because life can be so cruel sometimes, so busy sometimes. And sometimes we forget that, I mean, if you had a child that came to you and said to you, Mum, I've got this going on in my life and, I don't know what to do. And you'd say to them, look, just take a break. Just take 5 minutes. Just go off, find something that you like doing. Just take 5 minutes. Just don't think about it. Just, take a breath. Just find something that you want to do. Well, to me, that's crochet. I'll just lose myself in crochet, and to me that just calms me down. That just cuts out the white noise of life, and it's a bit. I never got into the colouring. You know, the colouring that went round and was, you know, everybody had an adult colouring book, not an adult colouring book, but an adult colouring book. And everybody sort of went around with these colouring books and pens, and yeah, I never got into that. My colouring book was different colour yarn and a hook, and that to me is, you know, I'll sit and I'll make a pattern, or I'll just sit and I'll crochet, you know, and if somebody sort of buys me some yarn and just sort of says, look, you know, just go and do whatever you want, then I'm in heaven. It does make me relax, and it just makes me think of nothing. It's my happy place, and my husband knows that. If he asks me a question when I'm counting, I just count louder. If you know, I mean, my children have all left home, so they don't really get it. But if one of the grandchildren wants a cardigan, the first person they come to is me. So, you know, I don't know how that works. Oh, and they think yarn is free. You know, oh, you crochet, can you do that? Yeah. Money? No? Okay. It's a gift from Nana, is it? Thank you very much. So yeah, it's all, and that's another thing about crochet that does wind me up a little, because, you know, you've got, take the coat. I'm very good at this direction thing. Have you noticed? I have no direction, and that was another thing the stroke took away from me. Direction, no idea. Left, right, I haven't got a clue. So yeah, I'll point to the coat. On a site, I think it's called Farfetch, there's a granny square coat, and I think it's made by Versace. I think it's either Gucci or Versace, and it is a granny square coat, very similar to mine, but it hasn't got the kick flare in the back, so it's just a straight granny square coat, and I think the price is £3,500. Nobody will look at mine, and I have that up for sale for £150. And nobody will look at it. But on the Farfetch site, because it's got the label on it, Gucci and Versace, they're buying them. So I don't want to take the price down on mine, because it took me a lot of yarn, it took me a lot of time, it's my design, and the right person who wants it may come along. The pattern's up, the pattern's only £4, people can go and make their own if they've got the skill, they've got the time, you know, go and make their own. But because these people have got a label behind them, they can charge all the money. Because I haven't got a label behind me, I'm supposed to give it away. Well, I'm not doing that. I value my worth. All the hours, if I charged all the hours, I mean, £150 at £10 an hour is only 15 hours. That took me more than 15 hours. So people don't get it. And it's like Audrey was saying just a moment ago on her aloe vera. One of her sachets is less than somebody will go into Costa for and pay for a coffee. Well, they're quite willing to go into Costa and pay £7.50 or whatever. I don't know, I don't go into Costa, but you know, whatever it is for a coffee. But if you ask somebody to pay the going rate for crochet, they really tell you it's too much. So, I mean, I do bespoke orders, and I do get quite a few, but I do negotiate the price with them beforehand, and I do agree the price with them beforehand, and I do get price up front, because I have been stung before where I've negotiated a price, agreed a price, done the product, and then when it's time for them to hand over the money before the product is sent to them, obviously, they've come back and they've said, no, don't want it, it's too expensive. So yeah, know your worth. If you do any craft, whether it be card making, whether it be jewellery making, whether it be resin, whether it be glass making, whatever it is, know your worth. Because if you don't, you make it very, very difficult for everybody else. Because if you don't value it, nobody else will value it. I'll get off my soapbox now. Okay, it's a bit cold up there anyway. So some of the things, I mean, some of these bags that I've done, again, that's the same pattern as that, but just in the bag, and I lined that. I love that bee. Look, that's lovely, that is. And I did the strap the same, because that then goes over your shoulder, and that's softer then, and it stops the stretch. So you can put whatever you like in that bag and it won't stretch. And I did it half and half, so again it won't stretch. And that's got a oh, what's the word, rivet in there, so it won't pull through, and that's fully lined in the middle. So I love those bags, they're so easy and so quick to do, and they sell like hotcakes. People like those. There's a mustard one, wrong way Ruth. There's a mustard one on there, getting good at this. There's a mustard one on the back there. There's this one, and I did a red one, with sugar skulls in there, look. How good is that? See, I see the material and then I go and get the yarn, because it's like, I love the material, and then I can crochet around it. So there's those two. I did this little funny thing, wasn't really sure, I just did 2 circles, hair in the way, did 2 circles and then made it into a bag. So I've just got to do the lining for that one, and then that will go somewhere. Lots of these gloves, these sell in the winter. These are crocodile scale gloves. Oh, I've got a wrinkle in the middle there. Look, fingerless gloves, but they look like, this thing keeps popping up on my screen. So blooming annoying. Crocodile scale gloves, look. They're lovely. They're so warm. So warm. They're they sell like hotcakes. Absolutely. These are the only 3 pairs that I had left from the winter in different colourways. Little baby jacket. Just got to put buttons on that. Again, that was my own pattern. I just sat and did that. And because that's done on a small hook, I don't know whether you can see, it looks like knitting, but it's not. It is crochet, because my hands don't have the coordination to hold 2 needles and do. My head, my eyes, my head. No, my head, my eyes, my hands won't coordinate for knitting. So that's... this one I've got to put buttons on. I've just finished it. It's a neck warmer, you know, one of these jobbies. And then the buttons. Come on, Ruth, sort yourself out. Buttons go over here. There they go. Well, you know, I'm so good at this working with a mirror. Not. The buttons go over there and it sits like that. So that is just finished. I've just got to put the buttons on that. So that's that one. And then, you know, you get your normal mug, cozy and pattern. I'm just showing you all the stuff that I've got left over, really. This is the stuff that is in my stash. Oh, and this, my husband loves this. It's a cushion cover, but it's a unicorn cushion cover, and that's the back. My husband absolutely adores that. So yeah, they're the things that I've got left. Everything else has been sold, so I need to get crocheting, really. But the exciting thing is, because I was told that I was medically unfit to work, it was like, well, what am I going to do? So I've been writing a Learn to Crochet course, which has taxed me a bit because I've never done anything online. And I don't really know how it's going to go down, so I hope it's going to go down all right. But whilst I was doing that, I went into a local craft shop. It's been going for years and years and years up here. And I dabbled in card making 8 years ago, something like that. And I did it for a little while and I got really fed up with it really quickly. But I did do card making, and there's a card making shop up here, and it's just revamped its room. There's a room at the front, and it's just revamped that to a like a workshop space. So I went in there and I spoke to the manager and I said to him, look, what are you doing with that space? Are you renting it out? Are you using it as what are you doing with it? And he was like, oh, we're going to hold classes in there. And I said, oh, are you? I said, well, you know, is that just paper craft? Is that, you know, what sort of classes? And he was like, no, well, no, we're going to expand ourselves. I said, oh, are you really? I said, because I do crochet. And he was like, oh, well, leave me your number. And that was a bit like, leave me your number and push off. So I did. I left him my number. And I didn't hear anything. So I put a proposal together. A proper proposal, you know, a proper business proposal. And I sent it across. And I said, look, I walked in the other day and I said to you about teaching crochet. And it was a bit off the cuff. But I've put this proposal together. And what do you think? So, like, you know, under your nose, can't ignore me. And he came back and he was like, no, I really like this. Come and talk to me. So I did. And I've now got a 6-week crochet block of crochet lessons going up, starting on May the 11th. So I'm really excited about that. So thank you for listening to me. Thank you for letting me burble on. If you want to know any more, I've got a Facebook page, Mama Ruth. Go and have a look. MUMARUTH. Yeah, just have a look. But that's me in crochet. Take care. Have a lovely day. Thank you, Lindsay, for letting me to sort of bubble on and even, you know, bore people. I do like to waffle. So have fun. Take care. See you soon. Bye.